Hi there, everybody. It's Ellen Weatherford.
And Christian Weatherford.
And this is Just the Zoo of Us, your favorite animal review podcast, where we rate your favorite animals out of 10 in the categories of effectiveness, ingenuity, and aesthetics.
We are not zoological experts, but we try our best to bring the best and most correct information that we can.
That's right. Quick housekeeping note, we have a Kids Questions episode coming up. My oldest son, Isaac, who has done Kids Questions episodes in the past and is always a delight, a fan favorite. We'll be back to answer questions from kids. So if you listen to the show with a young learner, a young listener who has any questions about like animals or nature or the podcast or us or anything like that, please send those in to me at ellen@justthezooofus.com with kid question in the subject line, and we will get to those shortly in an upcoming episode. Isaac is really excited to come back on. He has a lot of fun. It's kind of funny that like the first episode that he did, he was like 5 years old, 5 or 6 years old. And like he's done them a couple times over the years, and you could like hear his voice and personality change.
Yeah, that's true.
It's really cute. But he really has a lot of fun coming on. So he wants to talk to y'all. So send in any questions that you've got, and we'll be recording that shortly. That's all the housekeeping I have. Oh, as an unrelated and unimportant update that I still want to yap about, I did get a new tattoo.
Yes.
I haven't talked about yet. I got a tattoo of a whale fall, and it is really, really cool. I had it done by an artist named Lynn Doyle, who works in Tacoma. And we had talked about, inspirations, like what I wanted. I sent some reference pictures. I sent reference pictures from like deep sea dives, like from like NOAA. Like Embari and stuff like that. And then I didn't actually see the design until like the night before I was going to get the tattoo. And then when I saw the design, I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. So it's like a whale skeleton, like resting on the ocean floor, but it's got like isopods crawling around it, and there's like octopuses like climbing out of it, and there's even like little hagfish and eels, and then even I didn't ask her to include this, but there's 3 little blobfish swimming by, but
appropriate.
But they're appropriate, right? They're like at depth, so they don't look all like melted, which I didn't even ask for, but ended up being like so perfect. And like there's spots where the skeleton looks kind of fuzzy because of like the bone worms that we've talked about on the podcast before. So it's like, it was cool. It was like a lot of critters that we've actually talked about on the show before. And if you've listened to any of those episodes, I like geek out like crazy about whale falls. So it was it was perfect for me.
And for the listener, it's located on, what would you say, the underside of the forearm?
Right. So like from my wrist, from the palm side of my wrist to my elbow. A fine addition to my collection. It's really
number 3 now?
That's my 3rd one. Yeah. The other one is I have a gator on my upper arm, and then I have a nematode on my ankle. So that's my tattoo update. I thought people would like to hear about that. People on social medias enjoyed the pictures of it.
They're very nice.
And Lynn did a fantastic job also.
Yes.
It looks great. I'm just really excited about it. And I know y'all cannot see me with your eyes, so I figured you needed to hear about it with your ears. So in last week's guest episode, I talked with marine biologist named Jessie Palmer about corals, which was really, really fun. It was a fascinating conversation. And during that conversation, only just very, very briefly, we mentioned a fish that is well known for its relationship to corals. So I figured, what better time to talk about this fish than right after having talked about corals? We could maybe get like a whole coral reef sort of theme working here. And once I started my notes on this fish, which I thought was going to be kind of like a straightforward, pretty simple little like, okay, yeah, there would be like a couple things here. And I was like, oh dear, I'm 5 pages in. I have a lot of notes on this. So I said, Christian, I have a lot to talk about here. And Christian agreed to allow me to have the whole episode this week.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christian. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
And this is parrotfish.
The chompy ones.
The chompy guys.
Yeah.
They're very chompy. Parrotfish were submitted by Sean Renning. Thank you, Sean, for the request. And I'm getting my information from a lot of sources, including the Monterey Bay Aquarium, the Great Barrier Reef Foundation, and the Florida Museum.
Oh.
So parrotfish, there are many species of parrotfish. There are about 90 species. The smallest ones can reach about a foot long or 30 centimeters.
Okay.
So that's like the smallest ones. So these are pretty big. And the largest one is called the green humphead parrotfish. They can be up to 5 feet long or 1.5 meters.
You'll never guess where I think I know this fish from.
Where?
David the Diver.
Oh, wow. Do they have humphead parrotfish?
Yes.
Or is it a humphead wrasse?
Ooh, it might be the latter.
Because there's humphead wrasses, which are different.
It's probably the latter.
Okay.
It's also a big fish, right?
They're both very, very large fish.
Yeah, okay. I think it's the latter.
It could be. I know humphead wrasses are in Abzu. I remember them from Abzu. But there are also humphead parrotfish, which are different, but kind of look similar.
Are they green?
They are also green.
Are they both green?
They're both green.
Ah, dang it.
But they're different. You can tell the difference in their mouths.
Okay.
So the humphead parrotfish has like a big beak mouth, and humphead wrasses have like really thick, fleshy lips that cover their beak.
I think it's that one.
So you can tell the difference in the face. So parrotfish are found all over the world, but the most species diversity is in the Indo-Pacific region. So these are like tropical waters of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. So imagine kind of from the eastern coast of Africa over to about the middle of the Pacific Ocean, in those sort of like warmer waters of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. That's where like most of the diversity of parrotfish is found. But there's also a lot of parrotfish in like the Caribbean and the warmer Atlantic waters. So like Florida has a couple of different parrotfish. There's the queen parrotfish and also the stoplight parrotfish.
That's interesting.
We saw parrotfish in Mexico. Do you remember that? When we were snorkeling in Mexico? Do you remember that?
I don't remember the fish specifically.
I remember seeing the parrotfish because they have this really beautiful, like, this is a little bit of a spoiler for later in the episode, but they have this sort of like, they almost look like Superman ice cream. You know what I'm talking about? How they have like sort of marbled, bright, like, I don't know how to describe it other than like fruity sorbet colors.
Yeah. Oh, you know why I probably don't remember this?
Why?
Because I couldn't wear glasses or anything while snorkeling.
Well, neither could I.
I'm like...
Are you blinder than me?
Pretty sure.
Not the blind Olympics. Take off your glasses right now.
I mean, I have our prescriptions, both.
Let's, you know what? I'll pull up an eye test on the screen. Let's see which one of us does worse.
Yeah.
So parrotfish belong to the taxonomic family called Labridae, which are the wrasses.
Okay.
So they are wrasses. They're just not the humphead wrasse.
Okay.
I know. This is annoying. But there are lots and lots and lots of different types of wrasses. Many years ago, I talked with a fish taxonomist named Ekai T about the wrasse family. They come in all shapes and sizes. Wrasses can include like you mentioned, the humphead wrasse, which can reach up to 6.5 feet long or 2 meters. So that one gets even bigger than the biggest parrotfish. But also the cleaner wrasse, which is one of my favorite little fish in the whole world.
Oh.
You know, the little tiny fish that swim into the mouths of other fish?
Yes.
So like a grouper or something like pulls up to a reef and opens its mouth and all the little teeny fish swim into its mouth and clean it up. Cleaner wrasses.
Huh.
That's what those are.
Okay.
And then there's like even other fish that like mimic the cleaner wrasse too, so that other fish will leave them alone. Because there's this kind of like rule on the reef that you like don't mess with the cleaner fish.
Oh.
So then like other fish have started to mimic the cleaner fish so that fish don't mess with them. It's
I thought it was going to be more...
diabolical.
Yeah, like to sneak into mouths for different purposes.
It's a heist. You know what that is? Ocean's 11.
Oh. That's all you're getting.
Man, that was like an on the spot joke too. I didn't even like prep that one. It was really good.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Sound off in the comments that justice for me for my joke. So within the parrotfish clade, there are about 90 different species. Now, that is a significant reduction from a few decades ago when scientists thought there were over 300 different species. But this isn't like a mass extinction die-off thing. The problem, what happened was scientists realized over time that the same fish, the same individual, can look very, very different and also function very differently at different points in its life. So
Okay.
what looks like 6 different species could just be 6 different forms of the same species. So young male, young female, adult male, adult female, like the different stages of life and also one fish could have all of those forms. That's a spoiler for later. But so like you can have just this wide variety of physiological presentations that to a scientist might at first appear to be different species. Because if you get like an adult male and another adult male, and they're the same age and they're both male and they look different, you might think, oh, they must be different species because they're both adult males and they look different. But turns out they might be very different from each other and be the same species. So turns out there's just a lot of variety within the species, which is, I think, very, very interesting. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So if this is anyone's first time listening to this podcast, we give animals ratings out of 10 in different categories. And the first category is effectiveness, which is physical adaptations, traits built into the animal's body that let it do a good job of the things it's trying to do. And I'm giving the parrotfish a 10 out of 10.
Very good. Wow.
And you know, I'm discerning. I'm a little harsh sometimes. I'm giving them a 10.
Although I would say of the 3, probably this is the one least discerning.
Yes. Yeah, and this one has some really interesting stuff built in. First of all, when you look at a fish, so these are really, really big fish, right? Typically tend to be quite large, but they're largely herbivores.
Okay.
So imagine like a large herbivore on land, right? Think of like a cow or a rhino, something like that. That's kind of what we're working with, but like on the reef.
Yeah.
So they are grazers. So their diet consists largely of algae. So they're kind of like a cow of the reef. They're just grazing on algae that grows on corals, that grows on rocks and structures and things like that. But the algae that they want to graze on, instead of growing on something like soft soil, like our herbivores have the luxury of on land, theirs grows on very, very hard, rough, often very spiky sort of like surfaces, right? Like we talked about on last week's episode, corals are animals. Big, I know for a lot of people, devastating news, but a coral is made up of a soft body polyp that's encased in like a hard mineral, like exoskeleton.
It's like corn.
How is it like corn?
Like corn
Speak
kernels.
on that.
Corn kernels. Like,
corn kernels?
Like the kernels have like a soft inside and a harder outside.
Harder outside?
Yeah. Well, I guess specifically types of corn that are used in popcorn.
So like dried pop. I was about to say like what corn?
No,
are
not
you
cooked
eating?
Corn. No,
not even like raw corn. Like corn that grows out of the ground.
Yeah,
also is
like
not hard.
Like the popcorn varieties of corn that have like a harder kernel.
I guess I would think of more like an M&M.
Sure.
Maybe.
My mind's
like
on the corn. I'm sorry.
You got corn on the brain? Are you corn pilled?
I've been getting ads for the band Korn branded hot sauce.
What? I got to get on your algorithm. This is
it
wild.
looks good.
Does it?
It does.
Is it corn flavored?
I couldn't tell. It appears to go well on corn.
Oh, you could put it on corn. There you go. That's corn.
Anyway,
They finally did it. Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Okay, so it's not like corn at all.
What?
You wouldn't give me my Ocean's 11 joke. I'm not giving you corn. So not to be deterred by these hard structures, the parrotfish just goes to town. They are like, you know what? I'm just going to chomp right into this reef and hopefully some algae makes it into my mouth.
Okay.
They're like, I'm sure what I want is in there somewhere. So I'm just going to take a bite of the entire thing and like let my body figure it out from there. Like let my body sort out what I'm actually digesting and what's not. Because like most of what they're taking in is like rocks. So just love to eat rocks. Just chomping on rocks all day long. Can you imagine the mouthfeel just all day long? Just
Me and shelled peanuts sometimes.
It would be like eating like just grabbing a fistful of shelled peanuts and just shoveling them into your mouth with no sort of like... You're making a face that people can't see. Translate the face into words.
Sometimes I'll eat the whole thing.
You freak. Sicko. Weird. So basically, like, what they're really going for is either the algae that's growing on, like anyone who's ever like looked closely at like an aquarium or a reef tank has probably seen, you know, green, feathery sort of algae that just kind of grows on surfaces there. So the parrotfish is after either that or after like the soft bodies of the corals inside. Different species like focus on different things.
Okay. I was wondering, because that was what I thought they ate, was primarily coral.
I think some species do primarily like digest the coral, and some species focus more on the algae. But for the most part, they're chomping down just right into the reef to get at whatever they can get at.
Okay.
It's a snacktivity, which you know I love. So this leads you to the defining characteristic of the parrotfish, which is the beak. So if you look at a parrotfish, you will usually pretty quickly know that it is a parrotfish, because like a parrot, they have a very thick beak. Like their mouth comes to a sort of hard point that looks like a parrot's beak. From sort of like a distance, this may look like just a couple of huge buck teeth. Like it looks like sort of like a solid plate in the front. But what's actually happening is that the beak is made up of hundreds and hundreds of teeth that are just very, very tightly packed together and then sort of cemented together by this like bony tissue called dentin that just kind of acts as like a sort of like mortar, I guess. Just binds all of the teeth together into like a single hard structure.
I don't like it.
No, it's terrible, actually. If you get like a little bit closer, you can see the individual teeth. If you see like a close-up picture of a parrotfish, or if you get close to one, you can see the individual teeth that make up the beak.
I'm glad I was robbed of uncorrected sight.
Oh yeah, you were blessed. What a terrible day to have eyes. Oh man, you have such a superpower in the ability to just like refuse to see something. If you ever see something
We're only
awful,
doing colors now, sorry.
no detail. You get sort of vague vibes. So when you're looking at it, you're seeing kind of a wall of teeth. Inside that wall of teeth is more teeth. So it's kind of like a shark's teeth, how they're made up of like rows and rows and rows and rows of teeth. Yeah. But all of the teeth kind of fuse together into like make a mega tooth. It's like the ultra tooth. So as opposed to the way that sharks are, the teeth grow in sort of an interlocking stack, where like the same row of teeth will have like 10 teeth stacked on each other, and they kind of fit inside of the tooth in front of it. And the way that I can describe this best is, do you remember those pencils from like elementary school? It would be like a clear plastic tube, and then inside of it would be a bunch of like little plastic pencil tips that each had their own like sharpened lead, so that whenever that tip broke, you would push the next tip through.
Yes.
It's like that. How the teeth are like stacked in like those little pencil tips.
That always seemed like the least efficient.
Honestly, I was thinking about this because I had not thought about this since I was in like elementary school, and I was like, this is easily the worst pencil design that anyone has ever come up with. This is so awful. Because we've seen like mechanical pencils. Like, this concept has been pretty well refined. We've got a good system in place for this. I don't know whose idea these stupid stacking pencils were.
We just love our disposable plastics.
This is like the ultimate single-use plastic.
Yeah.
Just a disaster. I cannot believe that like those were ever popular. I don't know if people still use them. They should be illegal if they're not already. But it did give me a great visual for describing how parrotfish teeth are like sort of stacked, like they're like interlocked together, which makes the structure a lot stronger because that's like solid, like densely packed teeth. And also means that, so if you imagine you've got this sort of like wall of teeth, there's going to be teeth at the edge, right? There's going to be like teeth at the tip. There's going to be like at the biting edge. There's going to be like sort of like a front line of teeth. When those teeth get worn down and, you know, chipped away by the rocks that they're crunching imagine just chomping into bricks all day long. That's what they're doing. So when those teeth get like damaged and worn down, they can just pop right off. And they got a new tooth, like right behind it.
Sick.
I know. They're so ready. Like they're ready to go. They just pop it right off, and then there you go. You got a new tooth ready. Yeah. and these teeth like are perpetually growing in.
Right.
So they have permanently like eternally like self-sharpening teeth. So their teeth stay like really, really sharp and really, really strong.
Nice.
Yeah. I thought that was really, really cool. Since they do spend so much of their time crunching on largely uncrunchable substances, their teeth have to be built pretty Ford tough, right? Like they have to be really, really hard. So these teeth are made largely of a mineral called fluorapatite.
Huh.
Now, fluorapatite ranks at a 5 out of 10 on the Mohs scale.
Ooh,
Have you ever heard of the
Mohs scale?
We got a Mohs head in the building. Welcome to Mohs.
I did a whole science project poster on the Mohs scale.
Oh, so you can explain the Mohs scale then.
Somewhat.
Tell me about the Mohs scale.
Okay, I think it's on a scale of what, 0 to 10?
It's 0 to 10.
Yeah, so the higher the number, the harder it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, hardness can be sometimes a hard thing to get your head around.
Right.
When we talk about hardness, think about a diamond is like a 10, whereas a lower number is something soft. So I usually think of the Mohs scale in terms of like minerals and metals. So gold, for example, is on the lower end of the Mohs scale. It's very soft. You can scratch pure gold with like your fingernail or something.
Surprising that we make so much jewelry out of it.
Yeah. So my whole thing in that science project was just talking about how typically the relationship between hardness and density is inversely related.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't
So
know
like
that.
lead and gold, very dense, but also very soft.
Oh, you mean like molecularly dense?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I thought you meant like just weight wise.
Well, same.
That's
same.
true. They would go hand in hand.
Yeah. So like lead and gold, very heavy, very dense, right? But also very soft. But anyway, so with the Mohs scale, you can tell relative hardness based on what would scratch another thing. So if you take a piece of glass and a piece of diamond, the diamond is harder, so it will scratch the glass.
Right. Yeah. So like you can, it's a way you can tell if like a diamond is real or not, right?
Sure.
By, like trying to scratch it with...
if you have something that you know is softer than diamond, but harder than perhaps
glass
or other things that would be passed off as diamond.
Right. Yeah, so, things that are higher up on the scale can scratch each other, and fluorapatite, which the parrotfish's teeth is made of, ranks at a 5 out of 10, which I know 5 out of 10 doesn't sound like that good of a score, but for sort of comparison, iron is at a 4.
Okay.
And steel, like stainless steel, is at a 4.5.
Okay.
So the mineral that their teeth is made of is harder than steel, which is very, very impressive. It's one of the hardest substances made by a living creature. So in 2017, a study by the Berkeley lab actually looked at the mineral composition of the parrotfish's tooth. They're trying to figure out why they're so strong, like what makes them like this. And they found that the parrotfish's teeth are made of a very, very densely woven chainmail-like structure of crystals. So I guess the fluorapatite crystals that they're made of are like very, very thin strands, and when it's thin enough, it can bend. So the crystals are like woven together into like a chainmail interlocking structure.
Nice.
That makes them like, it's already a hard substance, but then they're like packed and woven in together to make them just like extremely strong. Which I think like crystal chainmail on itself, incredibly cool concept.
Yeah.
Like it's giving like Chapel Roan, like, you know what I mean? Like the Chapel Roan's like chainmail outfit, like that, but like with cool crystals and stuff. Crystal chainmail is great. So this is a quote from the paper. They say, fluorapatite, the mineral responsible for the crystal structure of parrotfish teeth, contains calcium, fluorine, phosphorus, and oxygen. The study showed that the fluorapatite crystals that give parrotfish teeth their strength each measure about 100 nanometers, which is a billionth of a meter wide, and several microns, which are millionths of a meter long, and are assembled into interwoven bundles. The bundles decrease in average diameter from about 5 microns to about 2 microns towards the tip of each tooth. So you get these like crystal fiber structures. I got this information in that quote from this article about the paper, and the article was titled X-Rays Reveal the Biting Truth About Parrotfish Teeth, and that was by Glenn Roberts Jr. in November of 2017. Now you're past the gauntlet of the tooth wall, right? Like now you've passed through the barricade of just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I didn't like super investigate this, but I saw like one article said that parrotfish can have up to like 1,200 teeth, like in those structures. So you're past this sort of barricade of like Attack on Titan wall of teeth, right? And you get through the mouth. Now what? What's next? What does the parrotfish need more of? What is the parrotfish really, really hurting for?
Are you going to say more teeth?
It's more teeth.
God.
Christian, do you remember the moray eel episode?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember pharyngeal jaws?
Yeah.
It's happening here.
Well, okay.
We got pharyngeal jaws.
So that's not too surprising because one of the
Right.
things we mentioned is that's actually pretty common in fish.
Yes.
What makes the moray eel interesting is that there's the degree to which it can extend.
Right. Yeah. It's like way up in the front. Like it's really creepy.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also like they're very, very like they had very well defined like pharyngeal jaws. Like the
Yeah.
teeth were very long and sharp, which you
Yeah.
don't usually see a lot of. So in parrotfish, they have these pharyngeal jaws, which is a set of jaws and teeth in the throat. So it's the alien mouth of teeth.
Right.
But in parrotfish, these are more like grinding plates. It reminds me a little bit of like how stingray teeth are.
Oh.
But they're more for grinding. So it's basically like the teeth in the front are there for breaking the chunks off of like rocks and coral. And then the pharyngeal jaws are kind of doing the grinding. They're doing like the pulverizing the hard structures into like more of like a fine powder and breaking down, so that the body can then separate, what's digestible material from what's not.
This all has to translate into acoustics that you can perceive if you're swimming nearby.
I hope not. I would hate that.
Surely.
Imagine you're just swimming through a reef and you hear...
Well, it would be like an initial sharp crack, right, of the initial bite, and then a grinding sound.
Ooh.
And that's if there's one fish.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but I hope it's not. So yeah, the pharyngeal jaws are like grinding all of this hard rocky structure into powder. And then inside of the body, the body is separating the wheat from the chaff, basically. They're saying, okay, this is algae, this is soft coral, this is stuff we can do something with. The rest just gets passed through. And what happens when it gets passed through, do you know?
Poop?
It is functionally poop.
Yeah.
But it's different.
Oh, okay.
Because this is the inorganic material that can't be passed through. Like this is the indigestible stuff. This is like, you start with sort of like a rocky, a lot of it is calcium carbonate, very, very hard minerals. Now it's ground into a very fine powder. What is a rocky mineral ground into a fine powder? What does that become?
Sand.
That's sand, baby. We got sand. So when you're at a beach that is covered in like white, soft, powdery sand, up to 70% of it has passed through the digestive system of a parrotfish.
Now, how do they determine that?
I don't know. But I'll tell you where I got that claim from.
Okay.
I actually got that from the University of Hawaii's website.
Okay.
Where they say in places like Hawaii and the Caribbean islands, which are known for these sort of like white sandy beaches, up to 70% of that has passed through a parrotfish. That's not to say that like all sand is parrotfish poop, because sand comes from a lot of different places. So parrotfish are one of the biggest producers of a type of sand called biogenic sand, which is like sand that has been in some way produced by a living creature.
Okay.
But you also have abiogenic sand, which is just straight up like quartz or, little pieces of like, these are things from like erosion or volcanic eruptions. Like there's a lot of different sources of sand.
Which the global view of all the sand, that has to be the biggest, like,
I guess
majority.
Worldwide, that's probably the biggest one. But, when you're on like specifically like tropical sort of like sandy beaches and you're looking out at like the white soft sand, that's mostly parrotfish.
Interesting.
Yeah. So parrotfish are putting in work. Yeah. Actually, that little tidbit of information is in the big book of useless science knowledge. Oh. Which I have not mentioned. I can't believe I haven't mentioned on this podcast.
Because it's time, isn't it?
I know. I guess it's time. I got to write the first chapter of a children's science book, which is called the Big Book of Useless Science Knowledge. It is published by Neon Squid. And I wrote the first chapter, and the first chapter is about nature. So I got to write a whole chapter on really weird and gross and silly and fun nature science facts. And this was one of them.
So this one is part of yours?
Yes, this one is part of my chapter.
So you're citing yourself.
Yes, source me. But this is like a well-known, like studied, well-understood phenomenon where, most parrotfish are just very, very large sand producers. So if you like sandy beaches, think of parrotfish. Next time you're like laying out on the sand, just basking, making a sand castle, having a fun day at the beach, just think about all the parrotfish that had to poop all of that out.
Sure glad that fish ate some rocks with its abyssal horror mouth. And then...
I'm doing my part. Now, I did want an honorable mention here. Not all parrotfish have that like fused beak.
Okay.
But they still have the like stacking like rows and rows of teeth, giving you this just gnarly nightmare. I'm going to show you a picture so you can see it. This fish is called Calotomus japonicus. It is a Japanese parrotfish. And what I want you to do, I'm going to show you an image, and I want you to just kind of zoom in on the mouth. Oh, you don't have to. It's already zoomed in. Here you go.
Huh. Wait. Huh.
What's your take? Yeah, sucks, right?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's awful. I don't know why they have particularly different teeth. Oh, here you go. Here's a picture of them fighting.
Chomp.
Chomp.
I guess that's all they can do, huh?
So, yeah, some of them are a little bit more nightmarish than others. But also, before moving out of effectiveness, in addition to being physically very, very large, parrotfish are also covered in very, very thick, hard scales that are really protect them very well from predators. So they're kind of like tanks, like the armored tanks of the reef, right? In a video game, they'd be like the sort of high HP, high defense, but like low attack sort of tank.
Are they commonly eaten?
They are in some parts of the world.
Okay.
I will actually talk about that a good bit more in the conservation section, but they can actually be eaten.
Okay.
So I'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's take a quick break to hear from our friends on the Max Fun Network, and when we get back, we'll do ingenuity and aesthetics.
Hey, Sydney, you're a physician and the co-host of Sawbones, a marital tour of misguided medicine, right?
That's true, Justin.
Is it true that our medical history podcast is just as good as a visit to your primary care physician?
No, Justin, that is absolutely not true. However, our podcast is funny and interesting and a great way to learn about the medical misdeeds of the past, as well as some current, not so legit healthcare fads.
So you're saying that by listening to our podcast, people will feel better?
Sure.
And isn't that the same reason that you go to the doctor?
Well, you could say that, but...
And our podcast is free?
Yes, it is free.
You heard it here first, folks. Sawbones, marital tour of misguided medicine right here on Maximum Fun, just as good as going to the doctor.
No. Still not just as good as going to the doctor, but pretty good.
It's up there.
The Flophouse is a podcast where we watch a bad movie and then we talk about it.
Robert Shaw in Jaws, and they're trying to figure out how to get rid of the ghoulies, and he scratches his nails and goes, "I'll get your ghoulie."
He's just standing above the toilet with a harpoon. No, I was just looking forward to you going through the other ways in which Wild Wild West is historically inaccurate.
You know how much movies cost nowadays when you add in your popped corn and your bagel bites and your cheese fritters?
You can't go wrong with a Henry Cavill mustache. Here at Henry Cavill Mustaches, the only supplier.
The Flophouse. New episodes every Saturday. Find it at MaximumFun.org.
The next category that we rate animals on is ingenuity. This is behaviors, things that they're actively doing with their body to solve problems that they face or, navigate their environment. I am going to give them a 7 out of 10. There are some very interesting things some interesting approaches.
A 7's very good for a fish.
For a fish.
Yeah.
They can be a little singularly minded, I suppose. The first sort of interesting thing that they do is that at night, when it's time for eepy babies to go beddy bye, it's bedtime for fishes. Fishes have a bedtime too. I mean, this one does.
I was going to say, some of them.
This one does. This one sleeps at night.
Yeah.
So when it's time, it's bedtime. It's also slime time.
Slime time.
It's slime time live.
What?
A parrotfish, when it's time to go to sleep, it will get all cozy in a little nook in a little crevice in the reef or something like that. And then it secretes mucus.
Okay.
From a gland that's like just behind its gills. And the mucus grows over its head and around its entire body and encases the entire fish in a sleeping bag. A sleeping bag of snot.
Okay.
And it just floats there in its little cocoon of mucus slime and it sleeps in it.
Does that every night?
Every single night.
Huh.
And then every morning it wakes up and it swims on out, wiggles out of its little snot cocoon and swims away.
Okay, so what is the purpose of this?
It has two purposes.
Uh-huh.
So number one, this is really important, especially for a large and slow-moving fish, because think about other large and slow-moving fish that we've talked about, like the sunfish. What's a big problem that things like sunfish have?
Oh, there's so many.
How can I pick just one?
That lead is a little too buried.
Well, one of the problems we talked about being a big thorn in their side is parasites.
Okay.
Because parasites, first of all, the ocean loves them. There's so many parasites.
Yeah, yeah.
And parasites love a fish that is big and slow moving.
Mm-hmm.
So parrotfish, which are big, and while they are sleeping, they are slow moving. So this mucus basically is like a little barrier that protects them from little parasites and stuff that might latch onto them while they're sleeping.
Okay.
So that's one thing. It helps keep, parasites off of their body while they're asleep. But also, this one's interesting. And I don't think this has been like a confirmed. This might be like a hypothesis. I don't know if this has actually been studied, but it masks their scent.
Oh.
So it kind of like neutralizes their like smell, which can help protect them from things like sharks that might be hunting on the reef and might be looking for them.
Okay, this makes sense. Primarily parasites, because I was thinking if it's weak enough for it to just swim on out, no problem. That's not going to stop something from trying to eat it, for example.
No, but it also might be making it more slippery.
Yeah.
Right? Like make it easier to slip out of. Like if something does try to grab them and you're getting a mouthful of mucus first, it might be a little easier for them to slip away in that case, which is what hagfish use slime for.
Right.
But this is more to prevent them from being found in the first place.
Makes sense.
And also to protect them from parasites. So it's very interesting. I think it's like cute in a really gross way.
I'm imagining like a face mask type thing, just
Yes.
full body face mask.
So next time you're doing your little pre-bedtime skincare routine, you're putting on your moisturizer, you just think I'm going parrotfish mode. It's slime time, baby.
I'm going to fill the bathtub with oobleck. Just kind of, now I'm protected.
Yeah, I'm good. And with a little, like, maybe with like a single little breathing tube that just like comes out, like maybe a mask you put. Oh, you've already got your CPAP, so you're good.
This is quickly becoming a worst nightmare scenario.
And then you could just live in that and then have a sort of simulation of reality beamed into your brain.
Oh, we're already in the Matrix, huh?
Yeah, we got there really quick. So I thought the snot cocoon was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
That's a creative solution, I think, to an unusual problem. The other like sort of biggest behavior that I did want to talk about is something I hinted at earlier, which is switching sides.
Oh, okay.
Changing teams.
Yeah.
So parrotfish species, first of all, there's a lot of diversity among parrotfish species about how their sexes work. In general, parrotfish species can switch their sex at different points in their life. So most species are born female. So when they hatch out of their egg, they are female. And they swim with other females in a group like a harem. That's usually guarded by a male, a large male. And then at some point, one of the females may grow and switch to male.
Okay.
And then that male might go off to form his own harem, or he could challenge the original male for control over the harem. So you're getting like a harem uprising, basically. Like, look at me. I'm the male now.
Yeah.
And he might chase off the old male.
Yeah.
So, you can get this kind of like, almost like an apprenticeship. Like now the student has become the master.
Yeah,
where the female like switches to male and becomes the
Darth Plagueis thing.
Yeah. Just like that. And what's interesting is that, so when a female parrotfish switches to male, they become what's called a secondary or a terminal male. That means that they are like male for the rest of their life. So they started female, now they are male for the rest of their life.
Okay.
And I just thought the phrase terminal male was so like, rip.
I'm going to see that on dude's Tinder profile.
Terminally male. That in itself was a very funny phrase to me. Just seeing like papers talking about like being terminally male.
Yeah.
So anyway, now some parrotfish, this is a little more rare, but some of them might be born male.
Mm-hmm.
Which is called an initial male. So if they're like male right off the bat, they're called an initial male. But weirdly, the ones that are born male tend to look like females. So there's a lot of like dimorphism in parrotfish where the males will be much larger and much more brightly colored. And the females will be smaller and usually have like duller or like, darker colors.
Yeah.
So the initial males tend to look like females. So they're smaller and they have the coloration of a female, but they're reproductively male.
Huh.
Now, what happens a lot of times with these initial males is that sometimes the initial males will sneak into the harem of a secondary male.
Oh, I see.
So that then the initial male will like fertilize all of the female's eggs. So this is something we see in cuttlefish, right? We see sneaker males who will like use their behavior to like pretend to be a female so they can sneak into the harem. And then once they've snuck in, they'll mate with the females. So some parrotfish just do this. Like they're born male that look like female. So then they just fertilize all the eggs unbeknownst to the secondary male.
Oh.
But it's really weird that like in a species with such like exaggerated dimorphism, that they can be born like looking like female but reproductively male.
Huh.
So that's how you can get this weird like a young male will look different from another young male, and like an adult male would look very different from a different adult male because like one's an adult terminal male and one's an adult initial male, and they could look very different even though they're both adult males of the same species.
Okay.
So that's how you can get that like weird being unable to tell what's the same species and what's not.
Yeah.
And then you could see like the same females being fertilized by what appears to be two males of two different species, but it's just two different forms of the same species.
Huh.
So lots of interesting like variety and diversity going on in parrotfish reproduction. So in recent years, giant humphead parrotfish, those big ones I mentioned, they have been seen gathering for mass spawning events.
Sure.
So they have kind of always done this, but it's usually been in like, a few dozen, maybe like 50 or 60 fish. But within the last like decade or so, people have been seeing them, especially off of the coast of Palau, which is a Pacific island to the east of the Philippines. Over 1,000 of these giant, think like 5-foot long parrotfish.
Yeah.
And they all gather for this mass spawning event where they swim in this giant school. They kind of like get a little frenzied. Like they kind of like will kind of start, shoving each other and like bumping. These are the ones with the giant bump on their head, right? Yeah. And that's for ramming into each other. Because the males with the big humps on their head, they will just like bighorn sheep. They will just like slam their heads into each other, just headbutt each other.
Okay.
And so they're like kind of competing for like good mating opportunities and a better position in the school and stuff. So, and they'll also kind of like shove the females around to try to like, I guess, get them going, I guess. They get really frenzied and it can be quite dramatic before clouding up the water.
Yeah.
Because that's how they mate, right? They're not like doing a one-on-one mating thing. They just kind of like spew. It's a spray and pray. You just kind of cast your materials out into the water. And then,
what does it call it? Broadcast?
Broadcast spawning.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they do this in just groups of like over 1,000, which is interesting because it kind of suggests some growth in the species that like only just within the last like 10 years or so have we started seeing congregations of this number, which is like maybe that's a good thing. Like that could suggest some stability in the population that like maybe they used to gather in numbers like that, but they just weren't able to for a while.
Or they always did and we're just now noticing.
Yeah. So interesting, more recent observations. Now I did not give them a 10 out of 10. I did give them a few deductions, and the green humphead parrotfish is in fact dragging the team down a little bit in this department.
Okay.
It's doing a couple things that I think are a little counterintuitive. Number one, they sometimes will break a big chunk of coral off of the reef by just headbutting it. And I think there's better ways. I feel like you don't have to concuss yourself to get your food. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they say no one wins in a headbutt.
No one wins in a headbutt. That's right. You tell that to Tanjiro in Demon Slayer, because that dude's always headbutting people.
You'll notice he spends half the show in the hospital.
That's true. He is at 1 HP for like entire. There will be like multiple episodes in a row where dude is at critical health. Maybe a lesson.
Homie's gonna have a stub toe breathing technique.
Now, another thing about these giant humphead parrotfish that I think is a deduction in ingenuity is that they often sleep together in giant groups. So there will be a school of just like, dozens and dozens of these giant humphead parrotfish sleeping all together in a huge group in a very shallow and very easy to reach location. So they'll be like sleeping in like a shallow reef.
Okay.
They're sitting ducks, right? They're so easy to fish.
I mean, they're 5 foot long sitting ducks, but...
Yeah, but if you are a person with a boat and a spear...
Oh, well, yeah. I mean...
Yeah, so spear fishing is a big thing for these giant parrotfish because they just sleep out in the open in a giant group.
Yeah.
So people will just take a boat out and just go spear a bunch of them.
Yeah. This was the thing with manatees there for a minute.
Manatees?
Yeah.
Spearfishing manatees?
Well, I don't know about spearfishing, but like hunting. And I think this was a thing during the Great Recession.
Oh, when there was nothing else. It's manatee or nothing, I guess.
Yeah.
So finally, for aesthetics, I'm giving parrotfish a 9 out of 10. The colors are incredible. Like most parrotfish have just like there's like marbling and like pinks and like teal and just really gorgeous colors. What's up?
I want to pause for a second.
Okay.
I said Great Recession. What I meant was Great Depression.
Okay.
This was not something that happened in the past.
It's like 2008. I feel like I would have known about it.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I was like, wait, that wasn't the right thing.
During the housing crisis, all the real estate investors were out there like,
my adjustable rate mortgage. Better go eat a manatee.
Yeah, all right, grab the harpoons. So yeah, the parrotfish they got spots, they got stripes. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous, and they have such pleasant colors. Like they're really beautiful. Look like Superman ice cream. That makes me very happy. They have it all. Teeth bad.
Yeah.
Don't like that part. If you're like a couple feet away, and you shouldn't be any closer than that. So like if you're a couple feet away, it's usually fine. The teeth are bad, but that's fine. That's not my problem. And finally, this is where I want to talk about conservation for parrotfish. Because there's a lot of different species, there's not like one conservation status for like all parrotfish, but in general, their populations are decreasing. So parrotfish and coral reefs very closely rely on each other. So the fish needs the reef, obviously, as a food source. They need to graze for algae and corals. They eat. Like if there is no coral reef, the parrotfish cannot eat. But the parrotfish is also helping the reef. So it's doing a lot of things for the reef. First of all, it's keeping algae growth in check. It's trimming back a lot of the algae that if the parrotfish wasn't around could overgrow and choke out. Right? Like, because corals have, what we talked about with Jesse last week is that corals have like a relationship with like a photosynthetic sort of symbiote inside of them.
Oh.
And if algae is growing over them, they're not getting the sunlight that they need and they will die. So the parrotfish is helping keep the algae trimmed back, and it's kind of like a lawnmower, basically. Like it's keeping the algae trimmed back so that it doesn't choke out the corals. They're also pruning off dead pieces of coral.
Oh.
So like if you've got like a branch of like a coral colony or something that like maybe it's died off, maybe it's just really old, it's not doing so well anymore, the parrotfish can come in and prune it back. Or, in some way break it off so that, first of all, new coral can grow underneath it. It's not going to be confining the new coral. So new coral can grow in its place. But also if you get something like a storm, like a bad hurricane or something, those dead pieces can get blown off and then do more damage to the rest of the reef, right?
Oh, just like
trees.
Just like on land.
Yeah, yeah. So the parrotfish is doing a lot of that, like keeping things new, keeping things fresh, keeping things from getting unwieldy and too cumbersome, and just kind of keeping the whole reef safer. And then in turn, the reef even then acts as a nursery for a lot of different marine species, not just parrotfish, not just, other reef fish, but a lot of even pelagic species come to the reef to lay their eggs. And, you know, because when you're a tiny, tiny little fish, you can really use all of those nooks and crannies and crevices to hide until you're big enough to safely swim in the open ocean.
Right.
So the coral reef is a really important nursery for the entire ocean. So healthy reef, healthy ocean, healthy parrotfish. All that is to say that parrotfish are very ecologically important, not just to the reef, but to the whole ocean. Parrotfish are also very large, behave very predictably, and they are tasty.
Oh.
So a bad combination of factors for the parrotfish.
Yes.
They are very vulnerable to overfishing. So the greenback parrotfish, which is native to the coasts of Brazil, is actually listed on the IUCN Red List as endangered. And that is due to overharvesting from fishing.
Okay.
Like, that's just straight up overfishing. The green humphead parrotfish also does have a conservation status of vulnerable, with populations decreasing. Now, that was last assessed in like 2012, so I don't know if things have changed a lot since then, but I did find a 2021 assessment of parrotfish conservation in the Caribbean. And this is just in the Caribbean, so I don't know how much of this is going to also apply to the Indo-Pacific, but this was an assessment that was done by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. And they were talking about kind of the impacts of different interventions for parrotfish conservation. So things like laws and regulations that are, you know, either banning or regulating the harvest of parrotfish, and how well they're being implemented, whether they're being enforced, stuff like that in the Caribbean. So what they kind of found was that a lot of countries reported having some regulation or even outright bans on harvesting parrotfish, but enforcement could be really inconsistent or ineffective. So like there's a law in place, but nobody's doing anything about it. So like everyone's breaking the law and nothing's happening. So they effectively don't have the law, but like they have it on paper. So there's some of that going on, but also what they're finding is that when regulations, which is true not just of parrotfish, but of like any kind of conservation work, when regulations and bans and laws are enacted without the participation and partnership of people like local fishers, right? The people in the community, the people that are on the ground, the people that live there. So when there's no like buy-in, there's no participation or input from them, what happens is that compliance is very, very low, to the point that you get backlash. It backfires. Where people will say, well, who are you? Like, why are you coming in here telling me I can't hunt parrotfish? I've been hunting parrotfish this whole time. My family's been hunting parrotfish, you know, for generations. And then now these randos come into my town and tell me I can't hunt parrotfish. And so what they started to see was that some fishers who never targeted parrotfish started targeting parrotfish. Whether that was an act of rebellion, like, who are you to tell me what I can and can't fish? I'm going to go hunt parrotfish just because you told me not to. Or it creates a black market, right? Because now nobody's allowed to hunt parrotfish, but our customers still want parrotfish. So if I go out there and get some, then my customers will buy it from me. So like when you just come in with like just the law, people are going to be like, this is stupid. I'm not doing this. So they found that like what they really needed to do and what like actually resulted in like what they wanted to happen, you had to have like one-on-one conversations with people. You had to come in and like literally at the docks talking to people on boats.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is what's happening. This is why, you know, we need to protect parrotfish. This is why parrotfish are important. Like these things that are happening are because there's not enough parrotfish, and here's what we can do to like so that there will be enough parrotfish that our reefs will be better.
Yeah.
And like that had results. That had people being like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll leave our parrotfish alone.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because like the, you know, ultimate end to not is just no more parrotfish and everyone has a shot Pikachu face standing on an empty boat. What happened? Yeah.
So the most effective strategy here appeared to be a combination of both, right? There needs to be outreach. There needs to be buy-in. There needs to be participation. You need to be like talking to people like, hey, if we aren't going to fish parrotfish anymore, what should we fish more of instead? You know, like there needs to be some cooperation, or like what kind of nets do you need so that we can let the parrotfish pass through the nets?
Yeah.
Like what, you know, there needs to be a lot of cooperation. There needs to be a lot of participation and education as to like, hey, here's why parrotfish are important. I know they're tasty, but like this is why we need them to stay on the reef. So organizations like the Nature Conservancy have done a lot of campaigns over the past decade, like one called Pass On the Parrotfish, which I guess was a popular like hashtag in like 2018. And this was encouraging consumers not to buy parrotfish. So like kind of a consumer side campaign trying to get people to stop ordering it like at restaurants.
So pass on as in pass on buying it.
Pass on parrotfish. I guess pass the parrotfish would be like
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, but pass on parrotfish. Like don't order them, don't buy them.
Not like hand it to the person next to you.
Right, not like more parrotfish, please.
Sure.
So this is kind of like a change that needs to be made at the cultural level, which is unfortunately one of the hardest types of change to make. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's very difficult to make, especially when it's a place where like parrotfish has been served, for generations and people like it.
It's hard to get people to think past their next meal.
Right. Yeah. When this is like a 5-foot fish, right? That could be like a lot of meat, it could be really difficult, but it can be done. I mean, we're seeing, people care more. We've seen a lot less people ordering it at restaurants. We've seen fewer restaurants serving it. Like it's getting there, but I think it's still got a little bit of work to do. So if you want to help, if you want to be kind of part of it, you can not buy or order parrotfish at restaurants. You can also share information about parrotfish because a lot of this is like an information problem, people not realizing how important parrotfish are to the reef.
Right.
So, even just educating people about it and being interested in them and caring about them. Also, you can protect the reef by using reef safe sunscreen. So mineral-based rub-on, not an aerosol spray.
They work better too, so.
Yeah, that's true. Take it from Christian. Dude knows sunscreen.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the things that you can do to help parrotfish if you think they're really cool like I do, and be a good steward of the oceans, which make up 70% of our Earth. You can save the world one sunscreen at a time. Yeah. And that's parrotfish.
Thanks, babe.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for learning. Thanks for live, laugh, love, learning.
All of those things.
If you liked what you heard, we would love it if you left behind some nice words for us in a review on your podcast app of choice. You can also hang out with us online. We're on social media. We're on like Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Discord, stuff like that. So you can come hang out with us. And also, if you'd like to hear us talk about a cool animal on the show, my email address is ellen@justthezooofus.com. We would like to thank Maximum Fun for having us on their network with their other amazing podcasts, like the ones that you heard promos for earlier in this episode. If you want to go learn more about the network and how you can be a part of supporting our show and listen to our exclusive, super special, very fun and awesome bonus content, if you want to go check all that out, head over to MaximumFun.org. And finally, we'd like to thank Louis Zong for our theme music, which I think could maybe use a little crunching sounds.
No.
Maybe like, how sometimes in music there'll be like a little like but it's like it could be the Minecraft eating sound.
Oh no. This could be a video short of ruining something.
Thanks y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows,
supported
directly by you.